Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everybody, hope you are all doing well. I am Dr. Jibril السعودي. Inshallah, today we are going to have a lecture on this course, which is, I will say it in Arabic first, اللي هي مهارات متقدمه في اللغة الإنجليزية. That is advanced English language skills. We'll start first as an introduction to the course, the objectives of the lecture, why we study, let's say, English, why it's important to master English language. Of course, generally, I will talk in general, let's say, global communication English proficiency enables effective communication in a globalized world, fostering international collaboration and networking. Another objective that is academic advancement. It helps to master English for your academic purposes. Another also third objective is career opportunities. This, helps you in your career. As you know, as English is an international language, and if you have strong English skills, this will enhance employability and open doors to diverse career paths. Also, access to information. Generally, when we look for information and you have English language, it will be good for you. Another purpose, which is the fifth one here, that is culture enrichment. Those who need to travel around the world, of course, they must and they should learn English, which provides exposure to diverse cultures, literature, and perspectives, fostering cultural awareness and personal growth. In general, learning English is essential for university students, basically, because it enhances their ability to communicate globally, internationally, access academic and career opportunities, engage with a wealth of information and resources, and appreciate diverse cultures and perspectives. This is just general introduction and for the objectives of English, learning this English course, which is Advanced English Communication. The lecture terms that we are going, inshallah, to master and to discuss here in this lecture, we'll talk about generally global communication, academic advancement, career opportunities, language proficiency, that is mastering the four skills of the language: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. In addition to culture enrichment, employability, international networking, and information access with, of course, cross-cultural understanding. With regard to introducing the lecture, of course, generally as new students learning Arabic language, and this course is, of course, as a set for and a compulsory course for Arabic students, we welcome, of course, our students learning Arabic language as a BA degree, and of course that is this as another course which is related and required from Arabic students, is important and is essential for them to learn another language, which is the second language, which is English language. Okay, and in this course we'll come, inshallah, to cover the most important skills in English language. And in today's session, we will explore the importance of mastering English, of studying English language skills for university students like you. And, as English proficiency is not only valuable asset, it's not only helpful for student, but also crucial tool for academic success, career advancement, and personal growth in our increasingly interconnected world. Throughout this lesson, inshallah, we'll delve into key concepts and strategies that will help you develop the necessary skills to excel in your English language journey. These skills, that is listening, speaking, reading, and writing. We will begin by examining the significance of global communication and how proficiency in English facilitates effective interaction in diverse cultural and professional contexts. Next, we'll explore how mastering English language skills can enhance your academic advancement, providing you with access to the wealth of educational resources and opportunities for intellectual growth. Additionally, we'll discuss the role of English proficiency in expanding your career horizons, opening doors to a wide range of employment opportunities, both domestically, that is locally, and internationally, or nationally and internationally. Moreover, we'll highlight the importance of language proficiency in accessing, in learning, that is, say, information, fostering cross-cultural understanding, and enriching your personal and professional experiences. By the end of this lesson, you will gain invaluable insights into the benefits of English language learning and the essential study skills needed to succeed in your language learning journey. Therefore, let's embark on this exciting exploration of English study skills and discover how mastering the language can empower you to thrive in today's globalized world. Now, the first topic that we'll deal with as introduction lecture, that's language structure and grammar. Okay, language structure and grammar. There's no language without structure and without grammar, of course. When we talk about structure, this means, of course, grammar, the rules of building or structuring a sentence, and, of course, let's say, a speech. This theme delves into the foundational aspects of English grammar and syntax. It includes topics such as sentence structure, parts of speech, verb tenses, punctuation rules or marks, let's say, and subject-verb agreement. These are related to English grammar, basics of English grammar. In addition to understanding these elements is crucial for effective communication and writing English. There is no, communication, no writing without, let's say, having a good structure in building and in, let's say, having English sentence, or English even a paragraph, let's say, or communication with, that is, speech. Below is a more detailed explanation along with examples, of course. We'll talk about sentence structure, and when we talk about sentence structure, this aspect of grammar deals with how sentences are constructed, how sentences are built in English language. It includes, of course, understanding subjects, verbs, objects, and phrases. As we know, that is, any sentence must consist of the main components of the sentence, which are subject, verb, object. This is in grammar, but in syntax, we say noun phrases, verb phrases. For instance, simple sentence, for example, like she sings beautifully. She sings beautifully. This sentence consists of, three words. Of course, we have she, the subject, sings beautifully is the verb, and its complement, beautifully, which is an adverb. Compound sentence, for example, that is another type of the sentence. Sentence types, we have mainly 4 types, and this simple sentence and compound sentence, complex sentence, and compound complex. Now, with the first one, simple sentence, she sings beautifully, consists of one subject, one verb, expressing one idea. And we have compound sentence. A compound sentence is the sentence with its 2 simple sentences joined by or linked by and, but, or. These are called, coordinate conjunctions. And, but, or. So he likes, for example, he likes to read, but he doesn't like writing. He likes to read, but he doesn't like writing. This is because we have but here. It is considered as compound. We have 2 simple sentences joined here by but. Complex sentence is another type, the third type, which is here, a sentence, for example, although it was raining, they went to walk or for a walk. Also, we can say, if you study hard, you will pass. So we have if clause here. It's part of what complex sentence. This is, of course, this means that the complex sentence consists of 2 clauses. One main clause, like here, for example, they went for a walk. It's a complete sentence, can stand alone. But if I say, although it was raining, it is a subordinate clause, started with although, which is a linking device, linking word that links, the 2 sentences. So, and this is called subordinate clause because it can't stand alone. it must be attached to the main clause to complete the meaning of the complex sentence. Now, also we'll discuss in the following cultures, inshallah, that is parts of a speech. Parts of a speech, that is, what are the components of words or speech in English language. English language, of course, has various parts of a speech, each of which or each with its own role in constructing sentences. For example, we can say nouns. Okay, nouns is one of the parts of a speech, or one part of a speech. Cat, book, friend, man, woman, girl, etc. These are nouns. Verbs, like verbs, also the second part, that's verbs, the main part of of the language, that say form or speech forms: run, eat, sleep, study, learn, verbs. In addition to adjectives as well, adjectives are words that describe nouns, like happy, tall, blue, many other, of course, adjectives: beautiful, wonderful, strange. Adverb is the word that describes the verb. Okay, it's called adverb. So, like quickly, carefully. In addition, of course, we have very, beautifully. Now, also we have another that is type, which is pronouns. Pronouns, or proforms sometimes are called. These are the words that refer to nouns. In order to avoid the repetition of this, nouns, sometimes we use pronouns. Like, for example, for people, we can say he, she, okay, or I, of course, we. And also for things, we can say it or they, or sometimes, we have. So there are 7 pronouns in English language, and of course they have different types, okay, according to subjects or objects or possessive pronouns and others. Now, we'll also discuss, inshallah, verb tenses. Okay, verb tenses, which is the most important part in English grammar. That is, we can't construct or build a sentence without having certain tense. Tense, we talk about tense, that is time. Okay, what's the time of the verb or the action expressed in this sentence or in that sentence? So verb tenses here, English verbs can express different tenses to indicate when an action occurs. Examples, for example, present tense, tense, we can say present simple or present continuous or present perfect. We can say, for example, she plays the piano, or she is playing the piano, for example. This is continuous. Or past tense as well. We have also, they visited Paris last summer, okay. Or we can say, مثلا, they went to let's say to Amman last year, okay. Future tense, future tense we use it with certain auxiliary verb, which is will here. We will finish the project tomorrow, for example. Now, these are the verb tense. We have 3 main verb tense: present, past, and future. Now, with regard to punctuation rules, or they mark, let's say, or they play, these punctuation marks play a crucial, a significant role in clarifying meaning and organization what the written language. Of course, they add some information, some meaning, let's say, to the word or to the sentence. For example, a man different from the man, okay? And let's say if we put a full stop, this means the end of the sentence, okay? Any sentence must end with a full stop or a period. If you want to add information without adding, let's say, ending the sentence, you can add a comma, or we have semicolon, or we have colon, and so on and so forth. These are called that is punctuation marks. For example, here that is period, a period or a full stop, a period or a full stop, like as you can see here, okay. For ending sentence, any sentence must, in English language, must end with what? A full stop. Otherwise, it's not grammatical. So, like, for example, he's going home. He's going home. So, comma, for example, for separating items in a list, or separating, that is the main clause, that is complex sentences with a comma, of course. like, for example, apples, oranges, and bananas. This is, for the comma. Question mark, we know question mark, that is the mark ends the question. It comes at the end of the question for asking questions, as we said. What time is the meeting? Where are you living? What are you doing? Also, exclamation mark, that is for expressing strong emotions. Wow, that's amazing. Okay. Subject-verb agreement is another important part, by the way, in the English grammar, without which students will be mistaken. That is, they will make mistakes in writing or speaking the sentence. So this is a very important rule, which ensures that the subject and verb in a sentence agree in number and person. Okay, for example, here, singular subject with singular verb, okay? And this is why we have singular verbs. We have plural verbs. For example, we have is, is, are. We have, has. We have was, were. We have do, does. So this is you need to differentiate the subject. If it is singular, it must be followed by singular verb. If the subject is plural, it must be followed by plural verb. For example, here we can say, the dog barks. The dog barks, okay, loudly. Barks is here, a verb ends with s, okay, because the dog here is singular. But if it's plural form, look at this, plural subject with a plural verb, like the dogs bark loudly. Look at this, the dogs, dogs, plural form, okay, bark, which is without s, because this here is a plural verb, bark. So when we see a plural verb, when we see a verb without s, it is plural form, okay? Or we can say, the dogs are barking loudly. The dogs are barking, or the dog is barking. So this is, we have to differentiate the singular subject from the plural subject, because the verb depends on the subject, if it's singular or plural. This is what we mean by the agreement of the subject with the verb. Another, also here we can say phrases and clauses. These are let's say another component or constituents, let's say, or other constituents of the sentence. The sentence consists of what? Of words, phrases, clauses, okay? Of course, when we talk about words, we talk about morphemes. This is another topic. But generally, phrases and clauses. What are the phrases and clauses? Understanding different types of phrases, like noun phrases, verb phrases, adjective phrase, prepositional phrases, and clauses, like independent or subordinate, clauses, independent clauses, or dependent clauses. This is also, we can say, main clause and subordinate clauses. Understanding these clauses helps in constructing complex sentences. Okay, as I told you earlier, that is, when we talk about complex sentence, we deal with what? Two clauses, that is dependent and independent. For example, noun phrase, okay, like the big black dog. Look at this. It's not a sentence. It's just, one noun phrase. The noun phrase consists of, the article the, which is a determiner, and we have big, black. These are two adjectives, and the main here noun, the head noun is what? Dog. So this is what we call it noun phrase. So it's one noun phrase, although consists of 4 words, but it is one noun phrase. We have two adjectives, big, black, and we have the determiner. As a noun, nouns must be preceded by an article, either a for singular form or the if it is definite. Now, this is noun phrase. Verb phrase, verb phrases. Any verb. But here we need to be careful about the different types of verbs. We can say I have a verb, one word, like bark, that we mentioned above. So bark, or let's say sleep, for example, but we can say is barking, is sleeping, or has been sleeping, will have been sleeping. All this is one verb, it's considered. Although we have auxiliaries, but we have one verb. So, for example, has been sleeping all day. This is a verb phrase. Anything related to the verb comes within the verb is called verb phrase. Now, also we have independent clause, okay? Independent clause, like she went to the store. This is a full sentence, and it is also simple sentence, main clause, that is say. This is what we mean by independent clause, is the main clause. So she went to the store, and we look at this, we have it ends with a full stop. Now, dependent clause or subordinate clause, as I call it, like because it was raining, if you study hard. These are dependent clauses. They can't stand alone. I mean, they must be attached to another sentence so that the meaning will be complete. So by studying these aspects of language and structure and grammar, students gain a solid foundation, a solid basic, that is say, in the proficiency of English language usage, which is essential for effective communication and writing skills. That's it, as introduction. Here we'll come to the other, topic, the second topic that we will deal in this lecture, which is here language use and communication. When you talk about language use and communication, of course, why people learn the language? To use it, to communicate. And this is the main purpose of learning languages, is what? Communication. That is using the language. This theme focuses on practical applications of English language skills in various contexts. Yes, we need to practice the language, because without practice, no one can learn the language, okay? So this is why here, when we talk about practical applications, that is, you practice the language, okay, skills in various contexts, that is, in various situations. This, of course, covers speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills. As I told you earlier, that these are the main, of course, skills in learning. When you learn these, this means you can speak the language, you can use it, you can communicate using English language. So it covers speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills that are necessary for effective communication. In addition, it may explore strategies for clear and persuasive communication, cross-cultural communication, and adapting language use to different audiences and purposes. Below is a more detailed explanation along with examples about these, language skills. As I said, it is just general introduction to this course. So we'll talk about these skills, specifically or in separate or separately. Speaking skills. This aspect emphasizes the ability to articulate thoughts, ideas, expressing, feelings, that say, and opinions effectively in spoken form. That is speech. It includes pronunciation. Pronunciation, that is, that helps students or learners of the language pronounce words and sentences correctly. So the correct pronunciation enhances clarity and comprehension. That's understanding. For example, distinguishing between similar sounding words, okay, like, words like beach and bitch. Or we can say مثلا sheep and cheap, sheep, cheap, So you must distinguish between these, words. Or for example, we can say the pa sound, okay, or ba. Pa does not exist in English language. So some students, I'm talking about Arabic learners, okay, they have a mistake in the pronunciation when they pronounce P sound, okay. Like, for example, if I said purse, let's say, or problem, pa and ba, it is, sometimes mistaken by students, our students. Generally, so you need to differentiate those who don't have or don't know about P sound, okay, they must practice the, P sound with words, with P sound, so that, this is why that is, pronunciation is very important, okay? Another aspect which is very important in speaking, which is intonation and stress. Intonation, that is, using appropriate intonation and stress pattern to convey meaning and emotion, because intonation is the way we speak that expresses our feelings, our emotions, okay? So for instance, emphasizing key words in a sentence to highlight important information. For example, if I said, that's great, different from that's great, okay, or thank you, different from thank you. So this is the intonation, the way I express myself is different. These expressions, by the way, that or sentences I said are different in meaning because they express different emotions. So, of course, here, for instance, emphasizing keywords in a sentence to highlight important information. Now, listening skills, this is related to what earlier, speaking skills, intonation, and in addition to pronunciation. Of course, stress as well. Okay. Regarding stress, by the way, we have to be careful when we stress words in English language, stress on words and even sentences. Words, for example, sometimes words with with two syllables or more sometimes changes the meaning, okay, of the word. Not only, by the way, changes the meaning of the word, but also they change let's say, the form of the word. That's, for example, if I said desert, different from desert. Desert, the stress on the. So what desert is, the bare land, that is to say. But when we talk about deserted houses, for example, this means leave. So look at this. The change in the stress changes the meaning of the word. In addition to that is desert is a noun, desert is a verb. The same word, desert. Okay. So this is why it's important to know what the stress also of the words, because when they have the change in the meaning. The second skill, that is listening skills, that develop active listening skills is crucial for understanding spoken English in different contexts. Of course, without listening, you can't learn speaking, because through listening, you learn what the pronunciation of words and sentences as well. So it's very important. It's crucial for understanding spoken English in different contexts, which involves, of course, understanding main ideas, identifying the central message or main points in conversations, lectures, or presentations. In addition, also, we have grasping details, paying attention to specific details such as names, dates, and instructions. Interpreting tone and intent, that is, tone and intent, inferring meaning from tone of voice, emphasis, and non-verbal, cues. This is, of course, learned through listening. Okay, we can't learn the language without, tone and intent. That is, without learning the tone of the voice, the emphasis. Okay, as I told you earlier in speaking, that is, intonation and stress. The third skill is reading skills. Of course, reading is one of the most important skills because it also provides us with, or enrich, let's say, our vocabulary, okay, of the learning language. Proficient reading skills are essential for understanding written English materials, that we understand the text that we are reading, let's say. This includes, of course, vocabulary expansion, to have a lot of vocabulary, learning new words and understanding their meanings in different contexts. Not only that, of course, we can also comprehension strategies. We learn how, to use techniques like skimming, scanning, and summarizing to extract information efficiently. Also, we have another that is aspect in reading skill, which is critical reading. This is analyzing or to analyze text, evaluating also arguments, and forming opinions based on evidence presented in the reading material. Of course, also there's something that is, when we read, we look to the structure of sentences, that we read. So it also enriches, the structure of building, that's the English sentence or English text. The fourth, that is skill, and which is also another important, which is writing skills. Effective written communication involves several components, such as, of course, that's grammar and punctuation. If That's the most important skill that's say in writing here, because we have different writing skills, is to know grammar. Because writing without a grammar, this means bad writing, let's say, okay, or weak writing. So you need to know a lot of grammar. In addition, of course, when we talk about the grammar, we deal with punctuation, okay? Like مثلا capitalization, like using punctuation marks, okay? These are important in writing. So grammar and punctuation, applying grammar rules and using punctuation marks accurately to convey meaning clearly. Also, structure and organization. The structure of the sentence, the tenses that you are used, and organization, organizing that is the sentences, the ideas, planning and organizing ideas logically using paragraphs, of course, based on tense sentences, transitions, transition, that's vocabulary or words that connecting, okay, the ideas or sentences, and cohesive devices, devices that, link the, let's say, words or sometimes sentences or even what paragraphs, okay? This is also important. Style and tone. Style and tone, writing, of course, we need style. Adapting writing style and tone based on the audience, depends on the audience, the readers, let's say, and purpose as well. Whether formal, that is style. Is it formal? Academic essays, for example, or informal, like emails, social media posts, letters, personal letters, so on and so forth. Now, another also, that's the fifth skill, which is very important in learning language, let's say, cross-cultural communication. Here, we, of course, understanding cultural differences and norms is essential for successful communication in multicultural environments. In different environments, I mean cultural environments. This means we need to understand these differences, the differences and the norms, between, let's say, or which are essential, okay, to have successful communication. That is aspect includes cultural sensitivity, knowing the cultural differences that say, that respecting cultural differences in language use, gestures, customs, and etiquette that say, avoiding miscommunication, misunderstanding sometimes, okay? That is miscommunication, like being aware of potential misunderstandings due to cultural differences and using, strategies to bridge communication gaps. This is why it's important, by the way, and when you travel around the world, you need to know, let's say, the do's and don'ts. That's it, do's and don'ts, things that you should know, things that and do, and things that you shouldn't, do. The sixth skill also, which is important here, adapting language use, being able to adjust language use based on the context, using the language, that is say, of course, he related to, as he said, the context, audience, and purpose of communication, the reason why we communicate. For example, formal language here, excuse me, formal language used in academic settings, professional corresponding or correspondence, and formal presentations. This is what we call formal language. We know in these situations we should use formal language, that is academic language. Or that's formal. Informal language, of course, used in casual conversations, social interactions, and friendly emails, of course, spoken or written. That is what's called informal. Now, about technical language, of course, this is employed in specialized fields such as science, technology, and medicine. These scientific aspects or that is concepts, okay, or purposes sometimes. By exploring these aspects of language use and communication, students develop well-rounded language skills that enable them to communicate effectively in diverse situations and contexts. That is about, the importance of the understanding these skills of language. This is about what the second topic. Now, related to the third topic, we have something that is called literature and cultural context. Literature and cultural context. What that means. Now, this theme, that is the third topic here, involves studying English literature, including both classic and contemporary works. It examines literary genres, themes, styles, and techniques, fostering critical thinking and analytical skills. Moreover, it may explore the cultural, historical, and social contexts that influence literature and language use, providing insights into diverse perspectives and experiences. Of course, below here is more information about this theme. This, of course, I know it is. Sometimes you feel it is strange why we learn it. In fact, it's important to learn sometimes the culture of the language that you are learning. So how can we learn the culture? In addition, of course, to communication and let's say ideas, or let's say you reading text that you are reading, or we have, that is literature. Okay, literature involves here, that is the culture or the stories, the poetry, all these, okay, novels, that is written in that culture or by that, culture or language, I mean. These, of course, include that literary genres, which, of course, here, this aspect, I mean, which involves studying different genres, different ideas of literature or styles of literature, and understanding their unique characteristics. Some common literary genres include fiction. We know fiction like novels, short stories, plays that create imaginary characters and settings. This is fiction, okay? This is where sci-fi, science fiction, came from. Poetry, poetry, verses and stanzas that use language creatively to evoke emotions and imagery. This is poetry. Drama, we know drama, of course, works intended for performance on stage, exploring themes through dialogue and action. Of course, on stage, as we said. Non-fiction, okay, that text based on factual information such as essays, biographies, and journalistic articles. This is related to, as we said, that is genres, okay, literary genres. Now, the second here is themes and motives, okay, themes and motives, or motivations, we can say as well. So, analyzing recurring themes and motifs in literature provides insight into human experiences, values, and societal issues. Examples of themes and motifs include love and relationships, exploring various aspects of love, friendship, family dynamics, and romantic relationships. Identity, of course, and belonging. Identity and belonging. Generally, when we talk about language, of course, language, let's say, shapes identity, by the way, okay? So it's related mainly to identity is related to language, okay? Without language, we have no identity, that's it. So identity and belonging here, that is through examining questions of identity, self-discovery, cultural heritage, and sense of belonging. Other aspect, that is power and conflict, analyzing power dynamics, social inequality, moral dilemmas, and conflicts between individuals or groups. Nature and the environment, also very important when we talk about environment and nature, that reflects, okay, on humanity's relationship with nature, environmental conversation, and ecological themes. The third aspect here, that is literary techniques and styles. Of course, since we talk about literature, or generally we have styles, understanding how authors, that is, use literary techniques, the ways, the methods used by the authors, okay, the writers, and styles enriches, of course. This enriches the reading experience. Examples include, for example, symbolism. Symbolism, that is using symbols to represent deeper under meanings, let's say, to concepts beyond their literal interpretation. It's very important, by the way, in literature, that is talking about symbolism. Okay, and those who are interested in literature, know what we mean by symbolism. Imagery, of course, sometimes that is, when we talk about literature, it's based on imagery, imagination. That's creating vivid mental images through descriptive language that appeals to, senses. Also, we have foreshadowing. Foreshadowing, that is hinting at future events or outcomes early in a narrative to build, suspense or anticipation. The irony, of course, is another important fact, by the way, or style. Irony, employing irony, such as situational irony or dramatic irony to add complexity or reveal contrasts in a story. It's important as well. For the concept for that is cultural and historical context. Cultural and historical context. Here it's important, of course, to deal with these in literature, like here exploring literature within its cultural and historical context deepens this, of course, that is deepens understanding and appreciation. It deepens understanding and appreciation. That is when we call literature appreciation mainly. When we talk about, of course, when we deal with literature historically or culturally. This includes, of course, historical events, analyzing how historical events and periods influence the themes, settings, and characters in literature. Cultural perspectives of as well, examining how cultural values, traditions, beliefs, and societal norms are reflected in literary works. And of course, here talking about authors' background, this is, of course, considering the author's background, experiences, and worldview as they shape their writing style and themes, which is, of course, as these affect, of course, the author's style, okay, or writing style of the authors. Reception and interpretation, investigating how literary works are received, interpreted, and appreciated across different time periods and cultural contexts. Now, the fifth aspect here, we deal with critical analysis and interpretation. Critical analysis and interpretation, which, of course, here, through developing critical thinking skills, involves analyzing literary texts from multiple perspectives and interpreting meanings. This includes, close reading. Of course, when we talk about literature, we talk about reading, which is very important in learning the language. So, as we expressed and explained earlier. When we talk about close reading, we talk about examining details, language choices, symbolism, and literary devices to uncover deeper layers of meaning. And that is to understand, let's say, aspects, the meanings, the senses, okay, expressed in certain work or, literature piece. Or masterpiece. Literary theory, of course, that is here we deal with theories, applying various literary theories such as feminist theory, psychoanalytic theory, or post-colonial theory to analyze texts. And of course, we have very many theories related to literature. Engaging with debates. Engaging with debates, of course, that is part of learning the language, that is through debates, okay, arguing or arguments. Participating in discussions and debates about interpretations, themes, and controversies surrounding literary works, forming, of course, related also to another aspect or that is sub one, which is forming arguments, okay? Forming arguments, that is developing arguments and interpretations supported by evidence from the text and scholarly research. By exploring literature and cultural context, students gain a deeper understanding of human experiences, cultural diversity, historical context, and the power of storytelling in shaping perspectives and insights. These themes collectively provide a comprehensive understanding of English language skills, encompassing both linguistic knowledge and practical communication abilities. Okay, now to the summary of the lecture. To sum up what we have so far discussed, okay, that is, in this lecture we have covered three major themes in learning English language skills at the university level. That is your level, of course. Language structure and grammar. Okay, this theme focuses on understanding the foundational aspects of English grammar, including sentence structure, parts of speech, verb tenses, punctuation, rules, subject-verb agreement. Okay, mastery of these elements is essential, okay, for effective communication and writing in English. In addition, also we discussed language use and communication, which is here a theme emphasizing practical applications of English language skills in various contexts. It includes, of course, speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills, the four skills, along with strategies for clear communication across cultural understanding and adapting language use to different audiences and purposes. In addition to, of course, the third one, literature and cultural context, which of course involves studying English literature to explore literary genre, themes, styles, and techniques. In addition to that, it delves into cultural, historical, and social that context that influences or influence literature and language use, fostering critical thinking and cultural awareness. The lecture also included suggested activities for each theme, such as sentence transformation, exercises for grammar, debates on or discussions for communication skills, literary analysis, essays for literature, so on and so forth. That's all for today. Thank you, and I will stop here so that you can have better understanding, inshallah, in the coming lectures, analyzing in more details. Thank you.